I wrote and illustrated this LGBTQ children's book. Well, hi there. I'm Matt Haslam, though most of our students call me Professor Pride, and I'm from the accredited TV show Powered and Protected by Rainbows. Today's surprise is quite possibly the biggest step we're taking for LGBTQ education. That's because today, we're officially announcing my brand new children's book, Shadow's First Christmas, which I'm hoping will become the first in a long series of children's books and other books for schools and everyone, helping our community and our world get a little closer to equality. So I was hoping maybe I can read you some of the book itself and show you the illustrations that I did as well. Then we can talk about where you can get a copy of the book yourself and the charity you'll be helping by getting your own copy. And then we'll be talking about an extra special giveaway. So stay tuned until the end for all of that info. But first, I was hoping you wouldn't mind me sharing some of the story of Shadow's First Christmas. So let's open it up, shall we? This is the story of a puppy named Shadow and his first ever Christmas. Shadow is a 3-month-old Labrador Retriever whose fur is soft and light brown. He walked the streets of this big city and found scraps of food laying next to the garbage cans outside of beautiful restaurants. He would grab pieces of meat or other fancy dishes that the humans just threw away and would run to the nearest alleyway to eat his dinner alone. When it was garbage day in the city and the humans sadly cleaned up their messes, Shadow would walk to the park and stand beside the water fountain, waiting for the humans to sit and eat their lunches. Sometimes he would get lucky and the humans would be too busy talking on their phones to notice they left half of their sandwich unguarded. He would stand next to the water fountain as little children and adults walked up, stood beside the fountain, and threw shiny coins into the water as they closed their eyes and wished for something really important. But on one particular day, Shadow noticed a little girl making her wish before tossing her coin into the fountain. Shadow didn't have any coins to throw, and even if he did, he didn't know how his paws could throw a coin. So Shadow waited for the little girl to throw her coin into the water, and he closed his eyes, hoping the little girl's coin would grant Shadow's wish as well as hers. Shadow opened his eyes and sadly, he was still standing beside the fountain in the middle of a big park in the center of a giant city. He thought maybe his wish didn't work because maybe this fountain only works for humans. So Shadow walked away and found what was left of a cheeseburger sitting beside a garbage can. It was the best tasting thing a stray puppy could hope to find on a day in the city. A few hours passed by, and soon Shadow found himself looking for a place to sleep for the night. He walked down 7th Avenue and turned right at Christopher Street. It was on Christopher Street where Shadow saw these two gentlemen walking out of a building and heading towards him. The building had this giant neon sign lighting up the window saying Stonewall Inn, but Shadow didn't know it was a hangout spot for gay and transgender people. All Shadow saw was the two men walking towards him. They were holding each other's hands and smiling ear to ear. "Alex, look at that cute little puppy," the one man said to the other. "I wonder why he's out here alone at this late hour." The other man replied, "Does he have a collar? Maybe we can call his owner and help him find his way home." The two men came closer to Shadow and soon he got so scared that he quickly ducked underneath a mailbox. He closed his eyes and wished the two humans would pass by and not hurt him. The one man's voice said, "I think he's scared, Troy, but I don't see any collar around his neck. Do you think he's a stray puppy?" "Maybe," the other man replied. "I mean, if you want, we can take him home and make sure he has a warm place to stay for the night, then come back tomorrow to see if anyone is looking for him." Before he could tell what was going on, Shadow was being lifted up into the air, and the two humans were scratching him behind his little ears. Their scratches felt amazing, and it allowed Shadow to calm down a little and feel more comfortable in their arms. Alex and Troy carried him a few blocks back to their home, and soon they were setting up a blanket for him to sleep on at the foot of their bed. Before too long, it was time for the humans to go to sleep, so the humans lifted Shadow up and placed him on the blanket. But Shadow wasn't used to sleeping on top of tall things like beds, so he kept jumping down and raced under the bed, where he felt a little safer. The humans eventually gave up and went to bed themselves, leaving Shadow under the bed. The first night in a new place is always scary for a little puppy though, so it was completely normal. When Shadow woke up in the morning, the humans cut up another piece of chicken and placed it in a bowl on the floor for him. It was normally hours before Shadow found something to eat on the streets of the city, but with Alex and Troy, Shadow didn't have to search for something to eat anymore. Soon, the humans left for a few hours and came back talking about how no one knew of a lost dog in the area. "I mean, we could keep him. He seems happy here," Alex told Troy. "It would be nice to have some little paws around, and you always said you wanted a dog, so what do you want to name him?" Troy replied. "How about Coco? Because it's almost time for Christmas," said Alex. "Or we can call him Shadow, because he always likes to hide," replied Troy. "Aw, that would be cute," Alex said. "Sort of like you and I hid in the closet for so many years. I love it." And so his name became Shadow. The humans would take him on a walk around a few city streets. The only difference now is that Shadow has a rainbow collar around his neck and a circular piece of metal attached to it with his name. His name tag jingles whenever Shadow shakes his head, but Shadow likes to hear the sound, so he shakes his head a lot. His collar is attached to a rope that Alex or Troy hold in their one hand as they hold each other's hand with the other. Soon on his walks, Shadow began to notice the ground was covered in white powder, and it tasted just like water. The humans all started to wear big jackets to cover over their bodies. Shadow began walking a little quicker because it was cold outside, and he didn't like the ice on his paws. But time after time, without fail, the two humans always let Shadow come back inside their home and lay down next to a warm piece of metal along the walls of their living room. Shadow didn't understand why the room suddenly had a giant tree in the middle of it, but the humans brought it inside. So Shadow thought maybe the tree was cold as well and needed a place to stay, just like he did. They even decorated it with balls and lights, which made it look like it belonged in one of those fancy restaurants. Maybe the humans were opening a restaurant, Shadow thought to himself as he began staring at it. But on one particular night, the humans went to bed early. "It's time to go to sleep, boy," said Troy. Shadow followed Troy into the bedroom, circled his blanket, and rested his chin on his front paws. He wasn't tired enough to go to sleep yet, but he listened as the humans talked to each other and quickly started to snore. Soon after, Shadow drifted off to sleep and chased squirrels in his dreams. Many people don't know it, but most puppies chase squirrels so they can say hello and make a new friend. When he woke up in the morning, Shadow heard many different voices close by. None of them were voices he's ever heard before. So he peeked his snout around the corner and saw strangers suddenly sitting on the couch and others in the kitchen helping Troy and Alex make food. Like a brave puppy, Shadow went up to the one woman standing in the kitchen and yelled at her, "Arf, arf!" But when the woman looked down, she wasn't afraid of him, and she wasn't running away. Instead, she looked at him with a smile and said, "So this is Shadow. Your pictures do not do him justice, Troy. He's so cute." "Well, Mom," Troy answered, "I'm just glad he finally decided to wake up. It's almost time to open gifts." The woman began to bend down, reaching her hand out in front of Shadow's wet little nose. Before she could bend down all the way, Shadow went running back into the bedroom as fast as his little puppy paws would let him go. He jumped under the bed and hoped the woman wasn't following him. Shadow trusted Alex and Troy enough now that he knew they weren't going to hurt him. But all of these other people were strangers Shadow never met before. These strangers had Shadow so frightened that his tiny paws were now shaking. Sadly, that's all the time we have today. But if you want to find out how the story ends, you're going to have to read the entire book. I promise you, this story is well worth the read, even if you're not a child. I wrote this book for children to begin accepting others who might love differently than they do. It was written to help LGBTQ kids realize, just like Alex and Troy in our storyline here, that their love is completely normal too. You can get it for yourself, get it for a family member, a friend, or whomever else on your shopping list this holiday season. But just in case that doesn't entice you enough, if you order the book on Amazon from now until December 24th, 2020, a portion of the proceeds will be going to the Trevor Project, the nation's leading crisis intervention and suicide prevention hotline for LGBTQ youth. We will be making that donation on December 30th, 2020. So please use the link below to order now to ensure a portion of the proceeds can help the Trevor Project, and so you can get the book in time for the holidays. All other proceeds until the end of time will be going to helping our show here at Powered by Rainbows in providing LGBTQ education to students online. I just want to quickly point out that you can even get a copy for a homophobic family member or coworker on your holiday list this year. I promise, this is genuinely a children's book. So even though we aren't bashing any homophobes in the book itself, by getting your homophobic family members a copy, that's exactly what you'd be doing. But just because we absolutely love our students so much, we're actually giving a signed copy of this book away for free. Again, this book is seriously available right now for everyone, every school, every library, and every one of our students to get their own copy on Amazon and many other major book retailers worldwide right now, so go and get it. Please make sure to pick up your copy of Shadow's First Christmas right now. That way you can support not only our show in providing LGBTQ education, but so you can help the Trevor Project, crisis intervention nonprofit, before December 24th. With this new children's book, I am the proudest I have ever been of this show. So please, please enjoy. As always, I am Matt Haslam, aka Professor Pride. This has been Powered and Protected by Rainbows. Thank you so much for watching, and happy holidays, everyone. Bye for now. Watch Powered by Rainbows Season 3, only on MHP TV.